Welcome, weary traveler. Please sit down and listen to my story. It's not going to be a long or profound one, nor is it going to be an epic one. But it will be a sad story. A story of expectations that were never met. A few years ago, a lone traveler entered the world of Tivat, excited and full of hopes. They were captivated by the game's world and gameplay. At first, the game seemed a little bit challenging. With a limited number of characters and weak builds, and the lack of understanding of game mechanics, travelers struggled a bit, but they were willing to learn. They watched lots of guides, and they figured out reactions and artifact stats. So by the time Inazuma released, it felt like their efforts paid off, as it didn't seem as difficult as some people said. Pretty soon combat events stopped being a problem, and the traveler was ready to challenge the abyss. And when they finally were able to clear it, and later to 36 star it, they started looking forward to new endgame content, to show off their builds and understanding of the game mechanics. The traveler waited and waited, but the content never came, and after a while, the traveler realized it would never come. So in the end, the desire to learn the game mechanics wasn't rewarded, it was even punished in a way, because now, with strong build characters, all open world content and even event content was just a joke. Well, Genshin isn't a game about gameplay. It doesn't even need combat. All the gear farming and balancing stats and learning about reactions and character synergies. It was all pointless. The only place where you need all of these is the Abyss, which takes like 5% of your time in game and rewards you with less than a temple every month. The rest of the content can be cleared even with Beyblade Shinyan, if that's your preferred playstyle. You don't even have to dodge. You can just face tank everything and mash random buttons and you'll win. So if anybody criticizes your build, just tell them that they are the true loser here. The loser who put way too much time and effort into making the game laughably easy. Genshin is an open world sandbox waifu collecting game, and nothing more, and that's exactly the vision the devs have at the moment. Perhaps this was not the vision they had in the beginning, or else they wouldn't have put much effort into making a combat system. Perhaps they wanted to cater to a more hardcore audience too, but Genshin gained popularity very quickly and attracted a very wide and diverse audience, consisting of both more hardcore and less hardcore players. Of course, it attracted MMORPG enjoyers and hardcore gacha gamers, but arguably the biggest chunk of its audience consists of casual gamers, people for whom gaming isn't their main hobby and who probably haven't played many games besides Genshin Impact. This audience doesn't really care about balanced combat or challenging gameplay. They want an experience. They want a game to look pretty, to sound nice, and to feel somewhat rewarding. And Genshin delivers on everything except for the rewarding part. It has amazing music, beautiful locations and pretty characters, and also a story, which isn't the pinnacle of writing, but it's not terrible either, except for Inazuma arc. You might say, but casual gamers don't spend money on the game. Oh, they do spend money. And they spend a lot. A person who doesn't know how the game works would be more motivated to pull for their constellations to make them more powerful. In most cases, people don't see 6 or 5 their characters for power. It's just a way to show their love for their favorite waifu or husbando. And I'm not trying to slander casual gamers here. There's nothing wrong with playing games to just chill and relax. I'm just trying to say that with the popularity and resources it has, Genshin could cater to both more hardcore and more casual audiences. On top of the normal casual content, they could add a couple more combat-oriented permanent game modes. But why would they? Yes, theory crafters have a considerably large audience, and this audience would enjoy this kind of content. But in comparison with the whole Genshin player base, it's still negligibly small. So, from the developer's point of view, why work more if you can conserve your energy? Why add new game modes when you can rerun the same combat event, just slightly overhauled? Why listen to players when you can just ignore them? 3 years into the game, Genshin still has no artifact loadouts, even though people have been asking for them for a while. Why? Because the majority of players don't really experiment with their builds, so why even bother to satisfy a small part of the player base? Genshin is so huge that even if all dissatisfied players drop out, it will still stay afloat and stay profitable. They can't just drop some lazy explanation about player anxiety and move on making content as usual. Even though I can't imagine an endgame mode causing more anxiety than freaking 270 Dendroculi in Sumeru or underground exploration without a map. So technically they're gonna add loadouts, but this is not the system players were asking for. This is essentially glorified artifact sorting. And what players wanted was actually the system that would allow to swap between different builds with one button, real quickly and efficiently. Like in Honkai Impact 3rd. Come on, Genshin devs, just copy your homework. Nobody will complain. What I'm afraid is that they call this system loadouts, and then if people start asking them for the proper loadouts, they will just answer that, guys, we already have loadouts at home, we aren't gonna add anything. So with how things are now, we won't see any meaningful form of battle-oriented permanent content anytime soon. There is still hope for slow quality of life improvements. Hey, they fixed weapon refinement. Maybe in a year or so we'll see the artifact loadouts. Maybe they will copy a few more features from Star Rail. Resin overflow would be nice, by the way. And maybe by the end of Snezhnaya patch, they will add a roguelike domain of sorts. Who knows? Changes come slowly to this game. It took them 3 years to introduce some very basic features, and who knows how many years it will take them to finally introduce a new permanent game mode. Is Genshin a bad game? No. Could it be much better? Yes, of course. But at its present state, Genshin is a game you play to chill. I log in to run around beautiful locations, to listen to the music, and to solve some easy puzzles. Maybe to complete a self-imposed challenge occasionally. There is no reason to spend more than 30 minutes a day there. Genshin could be so much more, but it is what it is. And it will stay this way, unless the developers suddenly change their minds.